Hello and welcome. I'm Reverend Nhien, founder of Evolving Enneagram. If you're seeking a compassion-based, contemplative approach to Enneagram inner work, you are in the right place. We are in week 5 of a 52-week Sunday Talk series based on this book, Your Heart Was Made for This, by Oren J. Sofer. Today, in this video, we'll review your instinctual stacking and how it can impact how you habitually, i.e., often unconsciously, use your life energy so that you can more consciously direct it in the way that supports your highest aspirations. Additionally, we have bonus material at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Once I close, we're going to open to 3 interviews that I did, 2 of them last week when I was in Egypt, right? You'll see that it's in my hotel room in Egypt, to offer you examples of how you can apply this based on what your dominant instinct and also what your repressed instinct is. If you're new to the instincts, check out the video posted in the comments below for a little bit of a primer. With that, ready? Let's begin. So, the famous Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So there's a way that the Enneagram teaches us that we have these patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving that until we learn about our Enneagram type are often ways that are unconscious to us, right? Like it impacts our lives. We wonder why people are reacting to us in a certain way. We wonder why certain relationships or issues repeat in our lives. And so looking at the Enneagram, we're not looking at making Enneagram type or your personality bad. Again, we're just looking at how the type and the instinctual stacking, in this case, within the type, impacts where you habituate, where you might unconsciously direct both time, attention, and energy, right? I said both, those are 3 things, but you know what I mean. So for those who identify as sexual dominant, just be aware of how much your energy is focused on attraction, right? This domain of attraction, this is according to Russ Hudson's division of domains within a particular instinct, right? Or instinctual domain, we'll call it. Attraction, broadcasting, transmitting, display. It's also about choosing and discriminating. How much of your energy is focused on that, of like, deciding among these exciting options. The other area is exploration. So if you're dominant in the sexual instinct, sometimes called the transmitting instinct, that's according to the awareness to action model, then there's also this focus of energy and attention on exploring, getting out of your comfort zone, risking, right? And finally, merging is another area. So there's this idea of wanting to, I mean, right, in the sexual act, there is a losing of self, even like a figurative death of self in that act of merging, but it's not necessarily the sexual act. It could relate to that merging energy in with respect to activities that you're engaged in, right? Where you immerse yourself so you're lost. And again, not making any of this bad, but if you are dominant in the sexual energy, this week I'd really encourage you to be aware of how much your energy, of course, filtered through your Enneagram type, but how much your energy is spent on these areas at the expense of maybe other areas of your life, right? So, sexual. So next is self-preservation. And by the way, I'm going in the order that your interviewees are going to be in. And so that's why I'm doing it in this particular order. Self-preservation, self-care area. So notice how much energy goes toward thinking about things like what you're going to eat or managing your diet, how much sleep or rest you'll get, whether you're stressed or relaxed. So there's energy actually spent toward managing these areas of life. Okay, practicality and resources. Again, we reviewed this 2 talks ago, but I just want to apply this to this notion of intentionally observing in real time how much of your life energy goes to practicality and resources, right? So money, time, even how you're managing your energy could be a part what you use your energy for, right? How much both attention and energy it takes. Like I've noticed, like self-preservation dominance can across the board, across all Enneagram types, tend to be the ones who focus on scheduling the most, right? Planning their day, that kind of thing. Again, these are just generalizations, and if you're self-preservation dominant, you might be really focused on one of these areas I mentioned and not necessarily on the breadth of them, but I'm giving you the breadth of it for examples. Okay, next, home life. So that third domain is this area where you're focused on like your house, the structure, the safety of your life, basically even on chores. As a joke, there's a self-pres 5 I knew once who kind of claimed that, like when someone asked what his like ideal afternoon with his wife would be, it was something like cleaning the garage, but that's meaningful, right? For someone like me that's self-preservation blind, maybe not as much so, but just being aware that there's like an energetic boost that happens when you're engaged in the instinctual domain that's dominant for you, right? Just notice that. Notice how you tend to have like more energy for this area, right? And sometimes dealing with that area energizes you, whereas you don't even realize, but it doesn't for someone else. And so you wonder why people don't attend to the same things you attend to. This is part of why. Finally, the social instinct. Remember, so all you're doing right now is noticing how much energy goes to these domains, right? First, interpreting, reading people, reading between the lines, attuning to others. Again, depending on your Enneagram type, this might be enhanced by your type's tendency, right? But also, if you're not this type, or if your type generally isn't relational, it's going to make you a more relational uh, subtype of your Enneagram type. So empathy, adaptation, connecting is another area that your energy is going to go toward if you're social, also called navigating. I want to go back. Self-preservation is also called preserving from the awareness to action model. So connecting is really, sometimes it's about play, things that maybe other people who are not dominant in social might find overly frivolous, but there's something to that interactive element that kind of shows you where you relate within the system of things, right? Of people, that is, right? Relational systems. Reciprocity. So you might be very interested in like that give and take of the relational dynamic in ways that others are not. Participation is another area. And so you're interested in like your contribution, and so you're not necessarily participating just because you're social dominant, but it's partly that you're aware, you're spending energy thinking about how you're not participating. So think about that for some of the types, especially like 4s who are like, oh, well, it's about not being in that group, right? But there's a lot of thinking about it, as I've shared before and in prior episodes here. But really there's an expenditure of energy in reference to that relational dynamic, whether it's like hierarchy, etc., and awareness of the context in which your type shows up. Again, the relational context, not like the geographical context or the physical context, which would be more like self-pres. So given these things, I want to offer up 3 individuals who have graciously been willing to share their time and energy to really candidly talk about things that maybe they're not even that like proud of, but willing to share for the greater good, if you will. So let's take a look now at these offerings. And oh, I want to say, before we move on, know that if you're done energetically and you feel like, oh, this is enough information, hit pause now. Come back to this later. I don't think you'll want to miss it, but be heartful and mindful of your own energy right now. You might want to stop by just considering what I've shared and taking an evaluation of your own energy for your dominant instinctual domain. And if you don't know what that is, maybe watching your energy in these 3 areas will help you to discern, right? And then you'll notice also when you take the time later and you're watching these interviews, you'll notice that we actually go into a little more territory around what we call the blind spot. So the idea here is that there are gifts in our blind spot. So when we are unconsciously just focused on our dominant instinct, attentionally and energetically, and always like behaviorally, we can miss out on more gifts in our lives. So this is not about should. I don't believe in the theory that we have to balance all our instincts. I think there's something unique to each of us. But in terms of the ratio of how much attention or devotion we have in these areas, but still it's worth visiting to see if there isn't a hidden or forbidden aspiration within what is not your dominant instinct, and often what is in what we call your repressed or blind instinct, the lowest in your stacking. So I hope that today's talk deeply serves you in opening up and embracing more of your own wholeness. Blessings. So hello.
Hello. Yeah.
So I'd love for you to say your name and your type and instinctual stacking.
Okay. Yeah. So my name's Bernadette, and it seems that I am probably a sexual 2 with a social 2nd and a self-preservation as the 3rd in the stacking.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my question for you is, what do you tend to have the most energy for?
I think if I was really honest about that, like my thoughts will always run to relational matters. So I'll be thinking about interactions with people, my next interactions with people, interactions I want to have with people, interactions that didn't go well with people. I think I'd have to say that my attention goes to that, and then I have energy to put into healthy relationships. A lot of practical things I find draining or not as fun. So yeah, I like, for example, I am currently trying to learn Danish because I'm living in Denmark, and I have no real motivation to learn it because I can relate to everyone in English because they speak such good English. So it's like I don't have energy to just master a new language if it's not going to get me better connection.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to find a connective reason to learn the language, and then I'll learn it really well. That will motivate me.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. I'm curious then, why learn it at all?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think it comes down to because it gets me a little bit more connection. So if I'm I have a lot of Danish friends, and if I'm with them all, they naturally want to speak to each other in Danish, and I don't want them to have to switch to English for me. I feel like that's unfair because I'm in their country, and like whole dinner parties will switch to English just because I'm there.
Aww.
So it's very kind of them, and they speak such great English that it's fantastic. But I feel like I'm missing out on subtle jokes. I'm missing out on really being part of my groups because I can't understand the subtlety of the language. And so the reason is actually connection, because I don't really need it for work. I probably will never counsel people in being a psychologist. I probably won't counsel people in Danish. I don't know. Maybe if I'm there 10 years and I'm fluent, I might. But I think it's for connection.
Go figure.
Go figure, yeah. Like, I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like also being able to read a sign and read like a joke on a sign. Like every time I'm at a train station and I see an advert on the train station, I'm like, yes, I know what that says and it's funny. So I like that. But again, it's feeling connected to the country.
Yes,
feel like belonging,
Yeah. So related to that, I'm curious, between sexual and social, why would you connect more as sexual dominant rather than social?
I've often toyed with it, which one am I? But I get way more, I guess you'd even say pleasure, out of one-to-one interactions than social. So I can command a room, I can run a workshop, but I'm exhausted at the end of that. It doesn't energize me. Whereas I get quite energized by a really beautiful one-to-one chat with someone. So I think it's, there's that, and there's quite a few little things, little subtle things, like definitely I'm probably better at the seduction of individuals, and I mean that not in a necessarily sexual way, just like I'm very good at sort of finding what an individual wants to hear to feel comfortable, and sometimes that's a very beautiful gift. It's not manipulative. I think I am better with the one-on-one of that than the crowd. There's like all these little subtle reasons why it just trumps the social, but mainly the energy I get renewed and excited by one-to-one intimacy over big group interaction. Yeah.
Got it. Well, this could be a little bit more revealing than you were planning on, but I have a question that might be revealing of me, like that. So in an environment, at least historically for me, like a conference or some big gathering, even though like I could be flitting about and connecting with a lot of different people, I have this radar for particular people. And I connect that with the sexual energy of like that ping, 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 the chemistry in the room and and again, like probably in my younger years, having that be confused for, okay, all sexual energy is like, that's what it's meant to be, and understanding now that that's a chemistry meant to open up something new. But I'm curious about your relationship to that versus, like, I know for me, that can be a draw even more so than sort of the belonging in the group, and I'm curious where you land in between the two. Like,
I don't fully understand what you've asked. So
where like there's that attention to like the like.
I definitely. So if I enter a room, tell me if this is what you're asking. But when I enter a room, say a conference or something like that, where we are at the moment, I've found that I notice the other sexual subtypes. Being Oranio say the sexuals, two sexuals, other sexuals show up in color, and the rest of the people look black and white when you enter a room. And when I heard that, I went, I think that's actually true for me. It's almost a bit embarrassing, to think of seeing some people as black and white and others as color. It's a good description of the other sexual subtypes seem to ping. And we seem to ping at each other, and then the social and self-pres not quite so much. Of course, there'd be exceptions to that, but I'm definitely. There's also the probably the element of the two where there is when I've pinpointed someone I'd like to be close to, then there will be kind of like the attention will go to where are they now? Where are they in the room? When can I sort of accidentally sidle up to them to make a connection? Yeah, so that definitely is happening. The more and more inner work stuff that I do, and actually like quite like myself, it sounds funny, but like the deeper I fall in love with myself, the less and less there's a ping for looking for particular people to get a boost from somebody else. And it's find myself standing quite, I don't know if you'd say solidly. And what seems to happen is just the right people tend to gravitate towards me. It's seemingly accidentally, but I think it's energetic.
Yes.
So, like it's, it goes from the seeking of connection to being so inwardly connected that it comes to you. And I guess that's that Enneagram paradox of the subtype, when you stop looking for what you want outside of yourself, it just arrives.
Fantastic. And then lastly, I'd love to ask, a lot of twos can get so enmeshed in relationship or helping others or being seen as helpful to others in a way where they abandon their own life goals. And I'm curious, I know that you're an amazing singer, and for folks who don't know, Bernadette has sung for one of my retreats, one in Denmark, and it was just so powerful. And so I'm curious about the relationship of that piece of pursuing your goals and having relationship steer you away,
Yeah, it's a good question. I just have to think about how to, what's true for me. I think what's happened over the years is that I will have goals, especially around music or, probably around music, and other personal goals, just health goals or things like that. And I'll often start on a project. It's actually more to do, with personal health things, stuff like that, that gets thwarted by relational things going badly. So like, and it's not always something I've sought out. Like sometimes a person will come into my life, the attention will go to them and building the connection, and I will easily take it off my own goal. Totally subconsciously, until I realize, I've stuffed it again. I was on a roll. And when I look back, I'm like, I was on a roll, and then that person came along and disturbed my roll. That's interesting. Then I got myself back on my feet, got my goal again, and started pursuing it again. And then that person came in, and I had another, disturbance, and I gave my energy to the relational issues instead of standing fast in my own goal. Yeah, and that's why I know I'm a 2 more than a 3. You know, like so when I had to determine, because I've got a lot of 3. People, sometimes think I'm a 3, sometimes think I'm a 4. Because with the music and the creativity, I look a bit like a 4 as well. I think the sexual 2 can sometimes look like 4 as well. Anyway, but so the thing that I've been trying to master, and who knows how much longer there is to go on this, is to really just stand so firm when I have a goal. And I really know it's for my own very much for my own good and for my own happiness and my own peace of mind, that I do not let relational things get in the way. Trying to meet the other person's needs so they stick around and like me. I kind of say these days, if you don't want to stick around when I'm nurturing my own goal, which is not affecting them in any bad way, but just then you're not for me. We're not compatible. Friends, lovers, anything. So it's been a very big journey and I'm currently on a bit of a, there's like a goal that I'm working on where I'm really practicing just not letting any relational issues get in the way. Where it's like, no, this is coming first, and then relationship can flow. And like I said before, when you do it that way, it tends to just show up. I don't need to look for the connection that I've always wanted. It just sort of it turns up in very wacky ways and left of center ways, and so that's a hopeful thing, to know if you start working on keeping the priority within the self for the 2.
Beautiful. May I come around and give you a hug?
Sure.
I'm gonna go over here and we'll say bye to the
yeah, thank you.
Say bye. Hello there.
Hi. Hello.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I would love for you to introduce yourself by your name and what your instinctual stacking is, and maybe where you're from, where you live.
Okay. My name is Nataliia Bolshakova. I live in Egypt for 20 years now with my husband, and originally I'm from Ukraine. So my stack. Do you want to know my type or only the stack?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm type 6, and my stack is self-preservation, then social, then sexual.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And so my first question for you is with regard to your energy. What do you find that you have the most energy for?
Well, definitely I have today energy to speak to you, which is a very big achievement because it's the end of the day. Well, definitely I have the energy to think about the food, to plan it, and to think about, am I warm, am I not? Actually, it's energy because I'm thinking about it, and it means it needs planning.
Yes.
So I'm kind of always aware, and I'm aware of that I'm taking care of when will my next meal be. Is it taken care of? And I'm aware that it's an energy taking because I'm planning. If it's not taken care of, if we're on a long way trip, I will be thinking about it pretty much. And then I will start being worried about it if it's not coming soon. And if I don't have some snack in my bag or something, then my energy will be my mood will be start spoiling. And I would say my attention will be a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm not comfortable in my body, if something small, even something is wet on me, a little bit even, I'm not comfortable, something draft, I'm not comfortable, whatever that means, my energy will be there a lot. My attention will be there. I will be thinking about it, how to change it, what to do, why did it happen to me, how can I and I'm already tired even not doing anything. So that's about in general what my thinking energy goes to. I would say I noticed recently that I preserve my energy from selectively talking to people and communicating with people who really, and no offense to anybody, who really deserve my energy. Because while talking, yes, I'm introverted. Maybe it's come from that, or maybe it's together like one stack of everything. It's my energy when I'm talking to person, especially sharing something. Energy is just dropping. So and then again it comes to me. And did you plan for your food? Did you? Oh, you spent your energy for talking. You didn't plan for your food. How could you? And again, some scenarios. So that I'm saying that for me was interesting because my lowest is the sexual, and for me to be on the spot, meaning to be on the stage where I have to be sometimes according to my work, or being among presenters in our academy, it's like I have to do something to be in people. That takes a lot of preparation for me, even sometimes a month before. For example, for the conference, I can prepare just that I will be there, sometimes several months, because it's a lot of, it's not even, I'm ready, the knowledge is there, it's not, so what is it? It's like as if they will suck my energy and I will not exist to that extent.
Wow.
I will disappear, which is totally false. It's false thoughts and just totally not true. But I noticed that. That's why sometimes I would be even skipping the conversation or just sitting not talking, feeling kind of a boring person because I'm not in the conversation too much.
Yeah, you don't want to spend your energy.
No,
in there.
because I know something else will come and I will be hardly even answering. I will be because it needs attention to focus and then to answer, to be engaged with the person. As I would say, for me, when I look at a person with sexual stack, and by the end of the day, and they're still jumping, and they're still entertaining conversation, and their eyes are sparkling, and I'm sitting, even to look at them, my energy is gone. Like, I wish I could do that.
Can we say for the record what your husband's stacking is?
He's a type 5 sexual. His middle is self-preservation.
Thank God.
Exactly. Then it would be totally understanding each other.
Yeah.
For me, for example, his energy, even if we're traveling, he already plans everything, where we go and everything. I'm just looking at his planning already. I don't have energy.
Oh, wow.
And this might cause problems when we, for example, travel for actually have to be relaxed. No, I have to see the hotel. I have to see when the next is the breakfast included, when I will have lunch, and again, it's maybe not that, as I'm saying, much taking time, but it takes time from me to have it all settled. At least I know that he will take care of it, and he knows now. He has to feed me. He has to at least to know to be sure that I know when I'm going to be fed. Again, it takes time for us to get used to. Like he, for example, he can climb the mountains all over. He can climb the pyramids all over. For him, this is food. Sometimes I'm saying to you, the more people you have, you're already fat. And if just give you a mic, put you on the stage, you are not hungry anymore. So
that's true. Wonderful. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Now, my question is, well, it's possible that it never happens, but does it ever happen that once you have settled, that you know you're comfortable and you have food coming and that's planned, what would be the next area of focus for you? Like, where does your energy go next?
Yeah, very interesting, because again, I was somehow like looking at myself, especially with just coming from travel, and I was sometimes irritated. Then when will because the retention, when I'm settled, like you're saying, then there is no irritation. My mood is becoming better. Then this is what I would call, this is when I'm settled. I know it's at least it's planned. It's not that I might be a little bit hungry, but I know it's planned. So after that we can speak, meaning we can talk about where to go. I can be in some conversation.
Yeah.
Where exactly it would be like going. Anything else that I would be, again, here maybe my type is inside, where I would be not alone. I have to be included now.
Oh, okay.
That's
social. Second.
Yeah, could be social. Yeah, also as a 6, I have to be in a group, meaning not necessarily group, but I don't have to be excluded. No, I have to be together with whatever is happening.
Yeah, and why? Why do you think you need to be together?
That was for me some revelation once. I cannot be alone. I don't want to be left alone. Not socially, like I have to be included.
Is it more like physically alone?
It's physical alone. It's like not cut out of. It's like as if, oh, this is the net. For me, this is how I imagine the 6s in John, that we are just building. We are all building the base. That's why we are all together. You cannot leave somebody crooked or somebody. We all together. We are doing this. Together we can conquer anything.
Yeah.
But don't leave me alone.
Oh.
You understand? So then when everything is settled, then I can somehow think of whatever is happening. What is anybody doing? I have to be there. I have to belong, even if I don't like spending energy climbing some ruins of some era, but I have to because I want to be with my husband, and he likes it.
Yes.
So,
and for the record, every time I've really hung out with Natasha, I think we've gone to dinner. So, just, especially this is a very sacred, special time. That I feel honored.
yeah, because my mood is becoming.
Oh my God.
But then immediately it can become worse if the food, for example, was not good. So anyway, so this again, it's my personal observation that my mood very much depends on once it settles, because I might, for example, even sometimes my husband say, "Why are you spoiling the mood on purpose? We are going out now for some sightseeing," and I'm very gloomy and how to say it, and murbling something, and he's like, "Why are you doing that?" So I'm even here. It's like I see if he's now if he gets upset, I will be like alone because he will become upset, and I would feel alone. No, I have to satisfy what is bothering me. It can be in the body, it can be in the food, it can be I don't want to be the primitive sounding person. Some basics, and then my mood is immediately raising up. Then I can be with you.
Yeah.
So again, this comes with consciousness, because sometimes at first I have to understand what's bothering me. It might be even bothering me that I will be on the stage today in the evening. It's bothering me. But I have to be conscious to that, because of course, some say it's not only food. It's this comfort.
Yes.
You have to be comfortable, then to go to the next stage.
Right.
To pay attention to others, to be even aware.
Yeah, amazing. I'm so grateful for your just very candid and authentic sharing with all of us for our education. And okay, see if we can. And again, I'll only use, just so you know.
So I wanted you can after that be even cutting, because it's recording.
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah. So I wanted to say that. I hope I don't seem like very up to earth person only. I'm giving an example of extremes when I'm, for example, traveling or something on long term. But other than that, it's sometimes you wouldn't recognize if a person among us is self-preservation, because we just don't talk about food. Yet it's in our agenda. But I was saying that, for example, if I'm in the presentation or something day, I might not eat the whole day and I don't think of it even. I cannot swallow a piece. To that extent, I'm just there. Again, 6 here plays its role of actually 6 is self-preservation, 6 is, they say, it's a very, very phobic actually type. But I know that if something is happening like this, I'm enduring something. For me personally, I noticed I start thinking that I will give myself a gift, and it will be food. I even on the stage, really sometimes finishing presentation, something clicks, and I'm like, okay, I'm talking to I'm presenting, and I'm like, okay, which food at the same time, so this is talking and this is, so which food do you want, this or that? Oh, I want that. And so something is not, because committee, something is presenting and now talking to you, something is thinking, so I will choose Moroccan food or this food or that food. So what's available?
Now we know.
And now my mood, again, I'm talking some extremes that I'm not all the time on the stage. So my mood is becoming a little bit, this is for me personally, I noticed it. I need a present for myself. For me it's good. I noticed also that even waking up, I kind of think of it. What will be today in this? How comfortable are we today? Will I be today? So this energy that you're asking actually initially, when I enter the room, I also immediately spot, is the room comfortable?
And
that was very comfortable. You were really keeping it so nice. Where will I sit? Which place? And you said to me, sit on the couch. I was happy not to sit on the chair, because that is not where you're sitting. Is not that comfortable. So you see, these are glimpses of a part of a second.
wow.
But for me, it means then I become more relaxed. Yet again, we're all people, right? We have all the stacks and we have to work at them. So I can compose myself. And all of us are composing ourselves to go on. If I was sitting on the chair, I would endure it. And I would look maybe the same and talk the same. But because this question was particularly, what's your energy? What's your attention? For me, energy is where attention goes.
Yes.
For me, it's pretty much related, these two meanings.
Yes.
So that for me would be the comfort, and even the comfort with people.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes. So last question. What I'm curious about is, based on your instinctual stacking, my understanding is that we tend to have, in our repressed stacking, a desire, like a hidden desire, that our stacking kind of keeps us from. And so we almost like keep our energy from it and our attention from it. And I'm curious to know if you're aware of any such desire.
Yes, even when you started talking desire and everything, my eyes started being like that. Definitely, for me, I picture myself somewhere on the stage. I even know the clothes that I will be wearing.
Wow.
I have that image. And I have no fear at all to be there.
Wow.
And I would be like standing and the wind a little bit breathe. And I even have the details. And the most important detail is I'm so confident.
Oh.
But confident, not in my knowledge, not just being there.
Yeah.
Just being in that spot, I'm confident. I don't know before or after. There's no fear.
Amazing.
It's like I can breathe.
Mm.
Actually, when even I'm imagining there, I'm like, I want to be that. Sometimes I'm trying a little bit to work at it, meaning bringing myself, applying for conferences, bringing myself on the stage, and then half a year I'm hardly eating. And my husband the day off saying, stop worrying, because that's it. I'm like, it's a torture.
Right.
So this sexual instinct for me, when I'm looking at, of course, sometimes with, as they say, like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be like that.
Wow. Yes.
So that's for me huge growth.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes. So I wouldn't necessarily equate sexual with just being on the stage, but I think that there's something that you're touching on around, you said confidence. So we're talking about confidence, but also I think you talked earlier about being admired. Is that like a no-no? Like that the idea that there are desires that you're like,
Yeah, that's interesting. Exactly, yeah. I said it just being admired and people under my feet and clapping and like, oh. This is one thing. Admired. You see, again, remember I was mentioning, when there are people and they have to attend, my energy, that's it.
right.
Even with admiration, everything, I know one person, two people, three people, it's not energizing me. I'm becoming very happy, yet my energy by the sixth, seventh person is like, okay, and even my smile is starting to hurt. I want to leave. It's like, it's literally, it's not, even with the admiration after, for example, some successful session or something, it's also depleting. So yes, exactly, not to feel that overwhelming, but to charging from it, that would be interesting experience.
Okay.
Yeah, and the confidence that you're saying, this confidence, I don't know, it's like when you're, for me, all this type 8 confidence is kind of, wow, how do they do that? They enter the room and everybody is just already, as we say, under their feet, I would say, or attention to them goes. This is what I want. You see, now we're speaking. I could learn it from type 8. I sometimes do. I sometimes look at their position of their figure, how they speak. And then sometimes I look at type 8 and I imagine myself really like Piglet, or from Shrek when he was, choose me, pick me. So I was like, what? She's so small. She's even small. I'm not big, but she's even smaller than me, type 8. People see her and greet her. Why didn't they see me? It's like, oh. So that sometimes is like, again, these are blind spots that only awareness brings us to understanding. And actually, okay, you don't have it. It means I have. If I want it, it means I'm potential. I have it inside of me. It means I can develop it, or I can just discover it. How I do it differently.
Yes.
I just didn't pay attention at it. So for me, it's all signs of it says in you.
Yeah.
Something, for example, if I don't have, I don't even care. In our last conversation, I didn't mention it because I don't need it. For example, I have it. It's balanced. My attention doesn't go there at all. But something like this, that maybe I have too much, maybe I have too little, I have to discover it also. Maybe the opposite. Some people would say you're too intimidating. I've never noticed it, and I still feel that I'm small. So that I have to discover.
Wow, what insight. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Nhien.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm super excited to hear from you. And let's just start with your name, type, stacking, maybe where you're from, where you live.
Okay, my name is Mohammed Rifat. I'm Egyptian. I was born in Egypt, but I was raised in the UK, and then I came back to Egypt and all the growing up years in college and work. I identify as a type 5, and the stack is a dominant, social instinct dominant. Secondary is sexual, and the repressed or tertiary is self-preservation.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, my first question for you is what do you tend to have the most energy for?
What do I tend to have the most energy for? Now, you know, as they always say that 5s feel they don't have that much energy. But yeah, after a lot of, along the journey and getting into all this, I noticed that thinking is what I have the most energy for. And it's so easy, so natural, that I don't even notice that I'm expending any energy to do it. In my most depleted state, I can still think clearly.
Wow.
And can think about a lot of things. So it's thinking about anything, thinking about everything, analyzing, picking up on signs, signals, social cues, a problem in a movie, an insight behind a sentence being said on TV. And it's a mix between 5-ish things and social things. So I can be sitting down exhausted at the end of the day, and I can just see 2 people in the family, for example. I just came back home and I'm sitting down, and all of a sudden I'm unable to speak. I can't really engage, but I'm seeing and analyzing their interaction, what they're saying, what they mean, what they're missing between each other. So yeah, just thinking as all forms of thoughts is where my energy and attention goes to. And as I said, it could be directed by a little bit of the type side and a little bit of the social instinct side.
Wow. So even when you're tired, you seem to have energy for thinking. And it sounds like almost like a natural habituated energy toward thinking about social dynamics,
Yes,
about relational dynamics, which I think
yes,
is an interesting twist on the 5, right? You know, that a lot of times people think of 5 as non-relational, but the social 5 is very interested, but it's still as an observer, right? You didn't engage in the social dynamic in your example, you observed
yeah,
it, right?
yes. That was a very difficult. It was a challenging part for me to realize when I was at the beginning of the journey, because it, to an extent, I don't seem to be a typical type 5, which is stereotypically the type 5 that most people describe as an SP5, an SP dominant 5. So social 5, SX5 is, and so it was challenging to, and everybody's saying that type 5, they go inside and they think so much inside. And it was also challenging to notice that I'm social dominant, because I am not typically what you would think as social dominant. I'm not gregarious, and I'm not all this, the social butterfly. But then that's where I got that trick. It's 5s are 5s. They're always going to be 5s. But where is the attention going? So I've got a lot of mental power. I'm in my head, but where is it directed? It's directed outside. It's not directed one-on-one or transmitting. It's directed outside, reading the cues, analyzing everything that's going on, and always driven by a question of where am I situated in this system?
Yeah.
Okay, where am I situated in the system? It's not just the group. It's not just a group of people. It's generally any system. So I'm looking at something. Where am I from here? Am I the best? Am I the second best? Am I the teacher? Am I the learner? Am I the observer? Am I someone who's adding knowledge? Am I someone who's helping out? Am I on the periphery? Am I getting involved at this time? How much am I risking of my energy? If I get involved, how much am I gaining if I get involved? And after years of observing this, it came with an important drawback, where I started to notice that almost the entirety of my as a type 5, my references are built on external factors,
Wow.
not necessarily dictated by external factors, but that's where I got it from.
Right. Right. Almost like
So,
your place in the world by locating and observing the world. You're
yeah,
locating yourself within it. But that's
yeah,
very different from self-observation.
yeah,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
yes.
Sort of related to some of the things you were saying, there's a saying I've heard about the social 5 that refers to it as thinking of itself as superior, but not separate. Can you say?
Yes, yes. I'm laughing because it's kind of embarrassing to admit it, okay? But it is true. Uh, as I said in the beginning, I identified with the type 5 side first, and then I noticed that I'm always tending to see myself as superior, and mainly in intellect. But then, after a while, when the realization of the social instinct came in, and I'm talking a little bit from a fixated side here.
Sure.
Hopefully, I'm not this fixated anymore. I hope so. But because I can at least observe it now, is that although I had all this feeling that, as you said, I'm superior, I know better, I know more, but I need you to see that.
Ah, wow.
I can't settle in that realization separately, as you said, superior but not separate. So it's like, okay, if you're superior, then just go live your life.
Right.
But no, I can't be superior and separate. I need to be with you, and you need to see this superiority and hopefully even acknowledge it. But I'm still superior.
Yes.
But I need you for that. You see, it's not separate. I need you for it.
Yes.
That sense of superiority will not be achieved for a social 5 without someone else, like as opposed to SX5, for example. So yeah, I totally agree. As I said, I was laughing because it's a little embarrassing to see that dynamic, and then hold up that mirror to you to your own kind of like dynamics and faults. Right now, or like when with a little bit of self-reflection and work, it becomes trying to balance two sides of it. One is not always needing the social validation. So that's balancing one side. So being able to be a little more individualistic and self-referential, or at least referencing the truth that can be more objective. And again, that's a whole big topic about relative truth and objective truth. And on the other side, not needing to be superior. Still, the social instinct kind of dictates a need to play a role. But now you don't have to be the superior one. Maybe now it's the serving one, someone who has something to add to the group. What am I bringing to the group? So instead of superiority, now it's becoming what special skill am I bringing? What special insight am I bringing? What special unique essence am I bringing just by my presence? But it's still affected by I'm somewhere bringing to a group and belonging to that group. So the social instinct, of course, is still very, very strong, but trying to not see it, trying to temper that need for superiority, and on the other hand, trying to temper the social instinct for not always having to need the social group give that validation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I so appreciate your candor and how supportive that is for all of us, to hear. But I also I want to hone in on this idea of being of service to the group. I'm curious because there are many ways we could be of service to a group. And again, I don't want to lead you into this answer, but if it's true, is it primarily through special information that you have? Or do you do acts of service? Like what's that belonging in a group, even when you're not taking the stance of
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things to be done, and as we're trying to grow, we recognize, or people generally tend to recognize, and I believe I'm doing the same, is the things that we don't do very well, but the group still needs. Okay. So for example, a group at work might not need my acts of service, but with my wife, and like a romantic and partner and in marriage, I can't get someone else to do that. You know, in a work, there's like 4, 5, 6 people on a team, we can distribute. But now if she needs that, then, and that's something that I'm blind at, like the SP blind, no, that I need to bring that to the table. Same because I'm a father. So again, the SP blind, the group here is I'm the leader of this group and there's nobody else to fill in that space. So I need to bring that. So that's one part of it. But the other part is appreciating my natural inclination and not trying to fight it, but celebrate it, and then bring that to the group. Because I see this happening with a lot of people, and it definitely happened to me, is that in the beginning, and I wrote an article about this that was published a couple of weeks ago, is that we tend to begin the journey with the Enneagram about our fixations.
Yes.
And the fixations belong to the type. And so an unspoken idea starts to formulate, which is then the good, it's like, these are my fixations, they belong to my type, and my life kind of sucked or was difficult. So now I need to change that or move away from it. And then the whole journey becomes, at least in the beginning, until some more realizations hit in, is that I'm running away from my fixations. And it sounds nice, we're moving away or growing from our fixations, but what it throwing the baby out with the bathwater, it becomes you just don't like your type that much and see in all those other directions. And what I was writing in that article was that it might sound that, okay, so let's not talk about fixations. You can't, because that's your starting point. Because if I tell you you need to incorporate the 8, you need to incorporate the 3, you don't even know what 8 and 3 means. The only thing you know is who you are, and these are your issues. So it has to start from that place, but it can take you to a bad place or a difficult place in that journey. So why I'm saying this is, for a while, I started to feel that I was embarrassed to answer your question such as yours by yes. Do you bring special information? I kind of like, no, not really. Sometimes try, but now it's like, yes, that is what I bring. That is the best thing I bring. That I try to do all those other things, but yeah, it's like hands down, the best thing I get is insights.
Yes.
And sometimes it's special information, like knowing specific technical knowledge. But maybe because I'm more of a wing 4 than a wing 6, so what I feel I bring is more insight, like seeing in the depth of things beyond what's apparent. And yeah, it's like I do that, and that's what I believe I bring to the table, and it's the easiest. It's not the easy. Don't want to be bragging, but I mean that's one of the things that takes least effort from me, is to just sit down and hear you speaking and just tell you some thoughts and ideas that there's a very good chance you didn't think about them before. And then all the other stuff. But as I said, from a sense of service, sense of self-acceptance and compassion, and then service to the group or the other person, rather than insights are the most valuable thing in the world, and if you don't have them and I have them, then you need to shut up and listen to me. That was the regular
Old model.
yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I so appreciate your clarity. And even as you're speaking, this is tricky, right? But it goes along with the way I hold the Enneagram as well, which is we do have to learn about the fixation. And I will tend to focus on expanding outside the framework of the fixation, but the fixation is a reference point, right? But in that, people can automatically, even using what I would call their religious like belief system sometimes of making things bad or punishing the ego or something, that we start to make the fixated aspects. I would say that fixation is by nature limited, right? It's not the totality of wholeness, and at the same time, that the belief that there is a gift in each of our types, a soul level precious gift to offer the world. And even though it was used in a different context, Ken Wilber's phrase transcend and include feels very applicable here, right? What we're talking about is transcending the fixated self, but including it in the whole, not demonizing, polarizing, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes, beautiful. So, and then you did say that, like, yes, there's this natural or spontaneous, like, energy and focus on, like, insight and special knowledge. And I could just even feel as you were talking about errands, like, self-preservation, like,
Yeah.
focus, right?
Yeah.
There's different energy around that. That's like almost like learned, to like
Yeah.
apply. And I'm very curious about that area in particular, in that have you, as you have opened up to celebrating more aspects of showing up in the world through the self-preservation related, instinctual behaviors, I'll call them, for
Mm,
short,
mm,
I mean, what have you learned for yourself, around that?
okay.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so a lot. Let me start first by saying I just remembered because the last week, we met over the conference and different occasions that are similar like that. It's an exhausting day. We were running around doing all that stuff, and I still have friends who come up to me and we have a question, or like I'm thinking about something and I need your help with it. Uh, and some other friends are asking me like, where do you get the energy for that? And it's like that I've always have energy for that. I could just lean back on the wall, listen to someone talking. I'll just tell them what I'm thinking about, even when I'm exhausted. And that's why I'm saying this, because the SP stuff, I can be rested for 3 days and I still need to mentally prepare myself if I'm going to need to, for example, take my car to the body shop or just renew a license. It can take me up to 2 days to change a light bulb. I just need to like build that up so you could see the extent of the contrast. I understand that it's useful. I'm still unable to feel that benefit. But I'll tell you where I do feel that it's beneficial and making a difference is not just am I SP blind, but my weakest center is the gut center.
Mm-hmm.
So when I force myself to show up in the world in these SP instinctual behaviors, as a collateral byproduct that I still, as a head type, can't see the direct cause and effect, but I feel is that I feel more grounded and here
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
this world.
Yeah.
And there is something enjoyable about that I can't actually specify, but it's enjoyable because it's like drinking after being very thirsty. It's a feeling that's coming to life, or that's coming online for me when it hadn't.
Yes.
So it's enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you see, I'm trying to talk about it like a head type when it's something very different. So it's like, I don't know why I like this feeling, but I didn't have it before, and it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it come from? I'm not sure, but it started to come when I started to pay attention to SP stuff. So fine.
Yeah,
See, it's like, yeah, I don't know why, but fine. Yeah, that's nice.
yes.
Yeah. And the last thing is noticing, again, doing all those SP things, noticing more direct sensations in the body is coming with a worse, and this is what I'm starting with, worse experiences of pain. And why did I start with it? Because that's one of the things as a head type I do. I wanted to move away from the pain that is caused by the body.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I noticed is, oh my God, this is too much.
Mm-hmm.
But it does come with very delightful, pleasant feelings of pleasure that were also missed because of this disconnection. So those are the two things I notice. It's like I laugh more strongly and cry more hard. Or harder. I don't know. I think I messed up the grammar in this one, but you get the point.
I get the point. Yeah. Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. What a rich conversation. I so appreciate it. Again, your candor is going to be of service to all in this. And yeah, even as we sort of close our time together, I want to offer a little bit of reflection, particularly because you're the final person. We'll end, today's talk, with you, and just kind of reflecting on that connection between the body energy or the gut energy and the self-preservation energy, and understanding that it is often easier for SPs to describe what it is they do in their territory, right? By saying, okay, well, we literally we do things, which is like we do this task, we do these chores, we eat, we sleep, unlike you guys in the other departments, right? Whereas, for the others, it's a little bit more metaphysical, right? To describe something that isn't as concrete. And so you're naming like there's something related to the concrete aspect of the SP that is nurturing your embodiment, and through you being in your body also accessing the challenges of being present, which includes your emotions.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Beautiful,
yes.
beautiful. Three-centered we are. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
Thank
And
you so much, Nhien. Thank you.
bye. Take care. All right, that is a wrap. I'm so curious what came up for you as you watched these interviews. Now, keep in heart and mind that we're not here to judge other people, just as we wouldn't want to be judged. It's really about honoring like the vulnerability and the courage it takes for these individuals to share so intimately about their lives, and it's particularly about areas that they're not necessarily proud of and areas that they are working on. So I hope that really invites you to your own sort of courage and self-examination of seeing how you were triggered, or how you developed more self-awareness through the examples given by the people here. So remember, always the motto is compassion, compassion, compassion. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below or in our contemplative Enneagram groups this coming week. See you. Bye.